Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Michelle Jorgensen and I am here with Living Well with Dr. Michelle. We're starting this new series of information to share with you information and ideas that combine science, the latest in science and technology, with the knowledge from generations past. A lot of the things that we need in today's world have already been known in the past. We just have kind of forgotten them and discounted them as we've learned a lot of new things. Well, we're all living through a very interesting time in the world right now, through a global pandemic, and that's why we're filming in my backyard, because we also are practicing social distancing right now. However, I think that this is the perfect setting to talk about some of these topics, because this is living well. Living in our homes, living with our families, living in the world, not necessarily all about work and the things that we identify ourselves with. This is about life, and that's what Living Well with Dr. Michelle is all about. Now today, our first episode is going to be on earthquakes. Now, why in the world am I going to pick earthquakes first? Well, where I live here in Utah, we actually had an earthquake last week. It was a 5.6 magnitude, which meant that those who were near to the epicenter felt it a lot. Those like myself that were further away from the epicenter didn't feel it a lot, but we felt it enough. I felt it. Everything shook for a minute. I ran to the window to see if there was a big dump truck or somebody driving by. There wasn't, so I yelled for the kids and said, "Kids, that was an earthquake, come down right now." And the interesting thing is I teach about this a lot, but I forgot everything that I teach. And so what this really enforced to me is that we all are living in places that can have some sort of a natural disaster. It may not be an earthquake, but it may be a tsunami or a severe winter storm. Perhaps a tornado or a hurricane, maybe a drought. All of those things are things that can be prepared for the same way that we can prepare for an earthquake. So today I'm going to be focusing some on earthquake prevention and preparation and practice, but mostly this is for everyone across the board. These things also apply to preparation for things like a pandemic. We're a little late for preparation right now, so in the coming days and weeks we're going to be talking a lot about what do we do now that we're here. How do we continue life? How has life changed? And how could it perhaps even be better? So I'm excited to share all those things in the coming days and weeks with you. So let's first of all start talking about what things do we really need to do in regards to a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, whatever we might call it. The two things that we need to do is we need to prepare and we need to practice. So where I live here in Utah, 90% of us are in an earthquake susceptible zone. What does that mean? It means that geologic studies have shown that there have been earthquakes here in the past and that we are overdue for an earthquake in the future. There's about a 100-mile swath that goes all the way from northern Utah to southern Utah and covers 90% of the state. So we know that there is going to be something happening here, and I would suspect there's going to be something happening where you are as well. We need to prepare for that. What do we do to prepare? The first thing that we do is we need to create an emergency plan. Now, all of the things that I talk about are going to have documents listed in the posts and things that go along with the videos. So you need to have an emergency plan, and I'll show you what that means. The basics of that is that you need all the information for your family. First of all, where are people? You know, right now it's kind of easy. If an earthquake happens, everybody's in my home, which is kind of nice, but that's not typical. So where is everybody at all times? You know, where are people? And if everybody's scattered, where are you going to meet if a disaster or an emergency occurs? Do you have all your documents in one place? Do you know where everything is in regards to your insurance information, your health insurance information, how to contact people from out of state? Do you know where all of that is? That all needs to be put together in this emergency document. The next thing is, do you know how to take care of utilities? So I'm going to grab this little wrench over here. This is a special wrench that has a gas shutoff. It has a couple different sizes, a smaller and a larger one for gas shutoff. It also has a water shutoff area here. It has something here that you could pry things open if you need to be able to get to stuff that might be under the ground. It also has an area for chipping things away, you know, whatever you might need. So I would recommend that you get one of these. This is an interesting little gadget that's multi-purpose. Just have it on hand, have it on your toolbox, wherever, and that is going to help you be able to shut off your utilities. Now you might say, well, I can have the wrench, but what in the world do I do with it? So I'm going to also include information about that. How to shut off your gas, or when to shut off your gas, which is even more important. How to shut off power, how to shut off water. All of those kinds of things are really important in emergency. How to take care of the sanitation system. So I will include information on all of those pieces because they're all very, very important. Another thing you can do to prepare is, do you know first aid? Have you already taken a class on first aid? Do you know CPR? You may not have to be actual certified to learn CPR. Right now is a great time to learn a lot of things online. Go online, learn some CPR tips. Even though you're not certified, at least they'll be helpful in an emergency for you and your family. And if you have to evacuate your home, do you have a plan? Do you know where you're going to go? Do you know who you're going to call? Typically, you need an out-of-state contact for family members because the phone lines are going to be jammed and everybody's going to be using local numbers. So you want somebody out of state that you can all contact. Where are you going to go? Just make a plan ahead of time. All right, another thing you can do is secure your home. So in your home, as you look around, as I started doing this, it was interesting. I noticed there are all sorts of mirrors and pictures and things on the walls. All of those things are going to be dangerous in any sort of an earthquake. So you just have to make sure that things are secured and that they aren't over places that you might be. Another thing is large furniture. Ideally, that large furniture should be secured to a wall. So if an earthquake were to happen, it wouldn't all topple over and really make your home a dangerous place. You can also secure your water heater, and that's something I'll give you instructions about as well. How to secure that water heater to the wall. I'll also teach you how to get the water out of that water heater if you need it for later. The third thing you can do is to put shoes and a flashlight by your bed. The best way I've heard of to do this is to put it in a plastic sack and tie that plastic sack to the leg of your bed. Why do you do that? Because most likely that bed's going to move. And if that bed moves, that bag will stay attached to it and you're going to be able to find it. You'll be able to work your way down that leg and find that bag and get those shoes and the flashlight immediately. Do you have a fire extinguisher? You should have one in your home, and ideally you would have one on every level of your home. And like I said, again, do you know CPR? Do you know first aid? These are all things that you can do to prepare. That's the preparation piece. Now I want you to think about some practice. I think it's really, really important to have practiced some of these things ahead of time. There's something called the Normalcy Bias, which says if we are going through something that we've never gone through before, we don't think it will really happen. Well, we're all living that right now, aren't we? And how many of us just sat around watching the news thinking, oh, this won't happen, oh, this won't close down, oh, this won't shut down, and slowly, piece by piece, it has been happening. So that Normalcy Bias told us it wouldn't because it never has before, but it will because things happen that haven't happened before. You have to practice so that when you're in that situation, stress is high, your brain still works because you've already practiced it and you know how to do it. For an earthquake, what do? The number one key is stop, drop, cover, and hold on. What that means is stop whatever you're doing immediately wherever you are. When the earthquake happened last week, I was in my bathroom getting ready for the day for work. So what I would have done is immediately stopped, dropped, and where I was in my bathroom was a pretty safe place. There weren't a lot of things that could have fallen on me. You drop, you cover. The first thing you're going to do to cover is you're going to put your arms above your head, one arm above your head. You're going to bend over to protect your vital organs, and then the hold on pieces you're going to get under something, under some sort of furniture, something that could protect you, and you're going to hold on to that because it's going to move and it will help to secure yourself. So again, stop wherever you are. If you're in a dangerous place, quickly get to somewhere that's not. You're going to drop. The earthquake will drop you. If it's a large one, it will drop you, so it's better if you do it on your own. Drop, cover, one arm up, tuck into a ball, and hold on under some sort of furniture. That's the key for an earthquake. If you're indoors, again, avoid things, look around. Where am I at right now? Am I in a safe place? Would I be okay? Ideally, you do not move to the outside. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So you want to go somewhere safe that you can be covered, but not where things could fall on you and be dangerous. If you're in bed, stay in bed. Roll over, get your face in that pillow. That's a really good protective place for you. Stay in bed. If you're outdoors, if I were right now outdoors, I would try to get away from these trees. That's the first thing I would do. And then I would drop and I would hold on. Now, if I didn't have furniture to hold on, I would use both hands above my head and I would tuck into a ball. Again, protect those vital organs, protect yourself. That's where I would go if it were to happen right now when I were outside. If you're driving, pull off to the road as quickly as possible. Make sure you don't pull off underneath a power line, underneath a bridge, underneath anything like that that could potentially fall and damage your car. So those are kind of the main rules about where you might be if you're near a shoreline. Now in Utah, we might think we don't have a lot of shorelines, but we do. We have a lot of lakes. Any sort of natural disaster that's going to disrupt the water, you need to get inland as soon as possible. So if you know anything has happened, get inland as quickly as possible away from any shoreline. All right, so there's some don'ts that are commonly talked about but are actually inaccurate. The first with an earthquake is people say get outside. Don't get outside. because typically from moving inside to outside, you're going to go through the most dangerous zone in the home. That's going to be those outside windows, the outside doors, any porches, awnings, all those kinds of things you're going to have to go under to be able to get to the outside. That's the most dangerous place. So you stay inside where you are, drop cover there. The second one is, a lot of people will say, get into the doorway, right? Everyone says get into the doorway. So there's an interesting history about this. There was a picture after a large earthquake that showed a home completely flattened, and the only thing standing was this adobe door. Well, the problem with that picture, and so everybody went off of that. They said, oh, the doorway must be the most stable place in the home. The problem with that picture is that the home was adobe. It wasn't a stable structured home. So that wooden door on that adobe home was the only thing that was wood. It didn't mean that it was the strongest in any home. It just meant it was the strongest in that home. So for most of us, a doorway is actually dangerous. There's a lot of things that could fall, and that's less of a supported area in a home than other areas in the home. Don't go to a doorway. The third one a lot of people talk about is the triangle of life. You want to be able to get, next to a couch or something like that and get into the triangle of life. Well, the fallacy of that is there may not always be something nearby that you can get under, and that thing will move. So that's not the safest place for you. These are the prepare and practice tips. Please take some time, prepare and practice. We have a little time right now. Do this. Again, this is Living Well with Dr. Michelle. You can find all this information at www.totalcaredental.com. Go to the blog. You'll find all sorts of information about all kinds of things that relate to living well.